Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I'll be analyzing the case of Alyssa Burkett. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Alyssa Ann Burkett was born on December 31, 1995, and lived in Rockwall, Texas. This town is 23 miles east of Dallas. Alyssa worked in the leasing office for the Green Tree Apartments in Carrollton, Texas. Sometime around 2018, she became involved in a casual sexual relationship with a man named Andrew Charles Beard. He was 9 years older than Alyssa. To Alyssa's surprise, she became pregnant. On July 23, 2019, she had a daughter named Willow. Andrew fought for primary custody of his daughter. The battle was acrimonious and tense. By March 2020, he appeared to calm down a little bit, and a custody agreement was reached. Both Alyssa and Andrew moved on romantically. Alyssa had a boyfriend named Ben, and Andrew was with a girlfriend named Holly Ann Elkins. The relationship between Andrew and Holly moved quickly. They were looking at engagement rings right after becoming romantically involved. In the summer of 2020, Holly moved into Andrew's house in Rolette, Texas. Perhaps due to Holly's influence, Andrew resumed his attempts to gain primary custody of his daughter. He repeatedly took Alyssa to court. Holly appeared to have a personal interest in this battle and despised Alyssa. In July 2020, she used a fake name, Amber, and placed a call to 911. Holly falsely claimed that Alyssa was driving erratically on the interstate. During the next month, August, Holly falsely claimed that Alyssa's mother attacked her. She made scratches on her own chest and stomach to make it look like she was attacked. A few days later, Holly hired a private investigator to uncover all of Alyssa's dark secrets. The investigator did not find anything incriminating. On September 2, 2020, the police received a call from a man who identified himself as Frank Marrow. He claimed that he saw Alyssa selling drugs to black men out of the trunk of her car. This was allegedly taking place where she worked. The police arrived and confronted Alyssa. She denied any wrongdoing and gave the police permission to search her vehicle. In the trunk, they found 5 baggies of marijuana, 1 baggie of cocaine, and a Taurus pistol with the serial number obliterated. Alyssa was not arrested. The police believe that Andrew may have tried to frame her. Referring to Andrew, Alyssa sent a text message to her roommate saying, quote, "He is going to try to get someone to kill me next," unquote. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On October 2, 2020, at about 9:15 a.m., the police received a 911 call from one of Alyssa's coworkers, indicating that Alyssa had been attacked in the parking lot of the leasing office where she worked. Alyssa was badly injured, and coworkers were rendering aid. Here is what the police found during the course of their investigation. 24-year-old Alyssa Burkett was dead near the front door of her office. She had been shot in the head with a .410 bore shotgun and stabbed and slashed 44 times. That day, Alyssa drove to the leasing office and parked her vehicle directly in front of the building. A black 2004 Ford Expedition pulled into the spot next to her. A man exited this vehicle and shot Alyssa in the head with a shotgun through the window of her car. He climbed back into the Ford Expedition, but after realizing Alyssa was still alive, he exited and stabbed her with a knife as she tried to get into the office. Witnesses described the attacker as 6'1" and wearing all black. Some witnesses described him as a black man. The police did not find any weapons at the scene, but they did find a knife sheath. A battery-powered tracking device was discovered attached underneath Alyssa's vehicle. The police told her boyfriend about this. He found a similar tracking device under his pickup truck. From the beginning of the investigation, it was clear the primary suspect was Andrew. The police placed him under surveillance. About 3 hours after the murder, he was spotted outside his home with his girlfriend Holly, loading his daughter Willow and bags into a white Ford F-150 pickup truck. A traffic stop was initiated on the basis that Andrew's vehicle did not have a front license plate. The vehicle was impounded, but Andrew was released. In the vehicle, the police found a pair of men's hiking boots cut into pieces and soaking in bleach. They also found dark brown makeup. The police searched Andrew's house and found 2 items of interest: batteries matching the tracking device that was under Alyssa's car, and a handwritten note containing items matching the false report about Alyssa selling drugs from the trunk of her car. The note contained Alyssa's license plate digits and the name Frank Marrow. Again, this was the name given by the man who made the false report. One day after the murder, the police found the black 2004 Ford Expedition used in the crime. It was abandoned in a residential area in Rolette, 26 miles from the crime scene, but only 1/3 of a mile from Andrew's house. A fake beard containing Andrew's DNA was found in the vehicle. On October 5, 2020, 3 days after Alyssa was killed, Andrew was arrested and charged with murder. He was released on bail 2 weeks later, but the police had found a silencer in his house, which convinced the FBI to get involved. 8 days after being released, Andrew was arrested again and charged with cyberstalking using a dangerous weapon, resulting in death. Holly decided it was time to give up on her magical romance with Andrew. She moved to Michigan and found a new lover. Perhaps she wanted a man who was less prison-oriented. In June 2022, in accordance with a plea bargain, Andrew Beard pleaded guilty to stalking using a dangerous weapon resulting in death and discharging a firearm during a crime of violence. In May 2023, he was sentenced to 43 years in federal prison. He is scheduled for release in 2058, when he will be about 71 years old. Andrew cooperated with the authorities to build a case against Holly Elkins. On June 6, 2023, Holly was arrested. On April 17, 2024, she was convicted of conspiracy to stalk, stalking using a dangerous weapon resulting in death, and brandishing a firearm in relation to a crime of violence. On August 15 of that same year, Holly was sentenced to 2 consecutive terms of life in prison. Now moving to my analysis. Andrew Beard admitted his guilt, but Holly Elkins denied involvement in the murder. Not everybody is convinced of her guilt. After all, Andrew had a strong motive to accuse Holly. Misery loves company, and his plea deal gave him a chance of being released from prison someday. This brings me to the question, was Holly guilty? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that she was guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. Holly falsely reported that Alyssa had been driving erratically and falsely accused Alyssa's mother of attacking her. She called Alyssa many derogatory names. For example, lowlife, blank baby mama, the blank rhymes with the word stunt, dumb blank rhymes with stitch, and a garbage blank mom rhymes with fit. Holly wrote to Andrew saying that his baby mama owned him, he continued to put her first, and he was submissive to her. She also wrote, quote, "I want a man who protects his women and child before anyone and doesn't give 2 blanks otherwise," unquote. It's not clear why she used the word women instead of woman. Maybe there was another woman she thought Andrew was supposed to protect. On September 10, 2020, about 3 weeks before the murder, Holly and Andrew went to a sporting goods store where Andrew used cash to purchase a black rain suit. On September 14, Holly purchased dark makeup from a drugstore. On September 19, she and Andrew went to a store and purchased 410 shotgun shells and a knife. On September 25, 1 week before the murder, when Holly was on a trip to Mexico, she texted Andrew, quote, "I hope you handle it. I'm not coming back to bull blank," unquote. Andrew's response was, "That's my goal." Holly wrote, quote, "Well, it will be a whole different conversation if I feel like you are ride or die. If not, then I don't know," unquote. Shortly after this text exchange, Andrew conducted a search for, quote, "What is the best way to remove gunpowder residue from hands?" unquote. Andrew was not the only one with a suspicious search history. Holly searched for tracking devices. On October 6, the day after Andrew was arrested for the first time, Holly supplied him an alibi, saying that he was home with her during the time of the murder. Holly said she would have known if he left because she was a stage 5 clinger girlfriend. After this interview, Holly made several searches trying to find out if a person with mental health symptoms could be subpoenaed to jail. I'm not sure if Holly really understood how the criminal justice system worked, although I'm sure she has received an education by now, mostly because of the life in prison part. Andrew implicated Holly in the killing of Alyssa. Among other things, he claimed that Holly wanted him to describe details of the murder to her while they were in bed. Moving to the exculpatory factors, Holly was at home when the murder took place. There is no direct evidence of Holly instructing or ordering Andrew to commit the murder. Andrew could have carried out the murder by himself. Maybe he was trying to do what he thought Holly wanted. Or perhaps Holly really did want Alyssa dead, but she never said that. Andrew was reading between the lines. Andrew had a powerful motive to lie in the form of a reduced sentence. Furthermore, the reason he gave for stabbing Alyssa was very difficult to believe. Andrew said that portion of the attack was out of mercy. He did not want Alyssa to suffer. When considering all the evidence in this case, do I think that Holly was guilty? Yes, she was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Both Andrew and Holly were self-centered, cold, callous, impulsive, irresponsible, manipulative, deceptive, antagonistic, sensation-seeking, and had a sense of entitlement. In addition, Holly was exceedingly creepy. They were determined to get custody of Andrew's daughter. Holly probably manipulated Andrew to some degree, but it is important to remember that he was already vicious and unreasonable before he started going out with Holly. Again, before Holly was even in the picture, Andrew had repeatedly attempted to get primary custody of his daughter. Holly relit the fire of anger inside of Andrew. She encouraged him to expand on his hatred for Alyssa. Holly threatened to leave him if he did not demonstrate his love for her through homicide. It's hard to imagine that Holly really cared that much about Andrew's daughter. If she really cared for her, then she would not have plotted to kill Alyssa. I think it's more likely that Holly wanted Andrew to have custody so Alyssa would be permanently out of the picture. She didn't like the idea that Andrew and Alyssa were connected. Holly wanted to sever that connection and have Andrew all to himself. This couple reinforced each other's dark fantasy of getting away with murder. Their efforts to conceal evidence created a trail of evidence, like their shopping trips. After Andrew was arrested, Holly decided it was time to find a new lover. She may have abandoned Andrew, but he had one last card to play to unite them forever on a prison journey. It's not the same as a romantic connection, but being prison buddies was good enough for Andrew. He played the victim and pretended that he was totally under Holly's control. She manipulated him into committing the murder. Getting Holly convicted was his big chance to get a small portion of sympathy. Now moving to my final thoughts. This case involved the extreme act of murder, but some of the relational dynamics apply to non-homicidal romances. For example, let's say there's a man who was romantically involved with a woman and they had children together. The man separates from the woman and he finds a new lover. He is still connected to his former girlfriend by the children, so custody issues become a popular target for complaints. The new lover develops a tremendous amount of enthusiasm for the man's plight. Like when he lists all his grievances with his ex-girlfriend, the new lover is in total agreement. She is extremely supportive. She hates that woman too, and always takes the man's side. It is an overinvestment, like the new lover is pretending she has been with the man for years, like she knows the history of his relationships. Everything that he does must be right. It must be good. Certainly, the old girlfriend is to blame for everything. It's not like they share responsibility in what went wrong. The former lover may even tell the new lover something like, "Hey, you don't know what this guy is like. I was with him for years, and it's not going to work out the way you hope. You are going to find out the hard way." The new lover is unimpressed by this warning. One reason this dynamic occurs, this intense new lover investment, is because it's intoxicating to the man. He is desperately looking for a woman who he can complain to about his former lover. The new lover might also get something emotionally from this, like maybe having a man who hates his former lover gives her more security. She believes he is definitely not going back to his old girlfriend. In the case of Alyssa Burkett, Holly advanced this dynamic to a more dangerous level. She fully adopted all of Andrew's anger and may have even amplified it. Her demand was to possess the perfect image, a plastic appearance with an equally rigid view of commitment. Holly demanded complete loyalty. To her, it was ride or die. In a sense, she did kind of get her wish. Her fate involves an extended ride in prison, which will end with her death. Those are my thoughts in the case of Alyssa Burkett. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.